Very good afternoon to you all, my friends, and welcome to the Big Book Bonanza with me, Mr. Dilly. Good to be with you today. Today, we have thrilling mysteries. Yes, thrilling mysteries. We have magical adventures. We have spooky thrills. And a few features we haven't had actually on Mr. Dilly Meets for a while as well. So we've got the return of the much-loved Just a Minute. Well, it's loved by you. I'm not quite sure if it's loved by the authors, but the Just a Minute coming up. We have the return of Mr. Dilly's poetry picks, and we have a pre-recorded video from the brilliant AF Harold for that as well. Also, at the end of the show, you can join in with in your classroom, and it's a lot of fun. And all the authors' guests will be playing along. Is the Big Book Bonanza quiz, which is also a lot of fun, coming up at the end of the show today. So, without further ado, let's jump into part one. Here we go. Okay, so listen, it's now time for me to welcome my guest today. Now, we were expecting Jennifer Killick, who hasn't actually arrived as yet, but she may surprise us during the show. I think she's up in the spooky woods with their witches at the moment, but we'll see. Big round of applause as we welcome my first guest today, and a big wave guest as you're coming on, Zohra Nabi. Hello, Zohra.
Hi.
There you go. There's Zohra Nabi. We have Farhana Islam. Hi. Hello, Farhana. How are you doing? Hi. We have Sangu Mandana.
Hi.
Hello, Sangu. And last but not least, we have Tamsin Mori. It's Tamsin. Very, very good. Well, listen, lovely to have you all with us today. Now, we're going to be finding out, obviously, about your a lot more about your books a bit later on. You'll be giving us some readings later on. But I thought now we'd play that lovely thing, which you all look terrified about, which is Just a Minute, okay? In Just a Minute, of course, you're going to have just a minute on a timer. Oh, yeah, it's on a timer. It's strict to speak about your book. Now, the thing is, everybody watching, is that they cannot repeat. They can repeat words, but they can't repeat any part of the story of their book. So they've got to try and remember it all and condense their whole book, which they spent months of pained writing into 1 minute. So it's quite difficult. Okay. Now, when we get to the end of that 1 minute, I have this beautiful kazoo here, and I will signal this with a or something like that. And then we get to the end of the 1 minute. Now, I'm not quite sure if it's worth going first or going last. But I think we'll do it in the order here. So we're going to start with you, Zohra.
Yeah, I'm ready.
After Zohra, okay, we're going to do to you, Farhana. Then we're going to go to you, Tamsin, and then to you, Sangu at the bottom. Okay. So as I said, you're going to be the last one. So no pressure at all for coming last. So we're going to say goodbye to Sangu, to Tamsin, Farhana for now. Okay. So thank you very much, Tamsin, Sangu here, and Farhana for now. Okay, Zohra. So what's going to happen is this. I'm going to give you a countdown. I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3. You'll go full screen, and then you just start speaking. Okay. Remember, you can't pause. Are you ready for this? Come on.
Yeah.
I believe in you. I believe in you. Okay. Here we go. So I'll give you 1, 2, 3. I'll be out of the thing, and it goes to you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Off you go.
So Deep Dark is the story of Cassia Thorne, an almost 14-year-old girl who's living on the streets of 19th century London. She's been in a debtor's prison with her father, who's been imprisoned for not paying back the money he owes to his creditors. And she makes a living selling ballads at Bartholomew Fair, a massive summer fete that comes to London between end of August, beginning of September, with Punch and Judy shows and loads of fun stuff. But children are going missing from Bartholomew Fair. And Teo, the pickpocket, who's all her source for stories and excitement, tells her that they need to investigate. So along with her friend Felix, they start looking around London's workhouses and city places and all kinds of churches. But what it turns out is that there's something sinister behind the children's disappearances, including a conspiracy of blue-coated men and a mysterious creature which seems to be living below the city and making strange noises. It's a wild time of ballad singing, which is used to be a way of London people to receive news and stories of strange songs.
Look at that. That was very, very impressive. I'm going to give you a very big round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Really
I feel like good. I got a lot of the story out there.
You got a lot in there. That was really, really good. You've obviously also set the bar pretty high for the next for the next guest. Congratulations. Okay, let's welcome back. Okay, we're going to welcome back Farhana now. Here we go.
I'm sweating already.
No, that was terrifying, wasn't it? That was pretty good, really professional.
I'm from Newcastle, and they say people from Newcastle talk really fast, but I don't think I can top that.
I know. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see. So, okay, are we ready? So, ready? Come on, you can do this, okay?
Okay, we got
3,
this.
2, 1, here we go.
So, hello, my name is Farhana Islam, and I am the author of The Misadventures of Mina Mahmood. It is the first in a 3-part series. It's my first middle grade. I'm so excited for you to get to know Mina and her best friends, Mobeen and Rima. They're in year 6. So they're about to go on they're top of the school now. They're about to go on their first ever trip away from home. They're about to go on the best journey of their lives. They're going to Shymore Oaks Residential, which is a camping trip. And everything was going smoothly. Everything was going absolutely fine until the rumours started. It's rumours that the mysterious, the elusive phantom Bertie Blackteeth was haunting the woods, that she skewers her victims, that she sharpens her toenails with twigs, and she's waiting for her next victim. We've got lots of spookiness around the story. We've got midnight feasts, we've got an ultimate laser battle, we've got quad biking, and please don't be put off by all the spookiness. It's just as much funny as it is spooky. And will they make it out alive? Only time will tell. But yeah, you'll get to know all the characters, and I hope that you enjoy the story. And
That was very, very good. It's like, oh, what else can I say? Very, very good. I know the pressure. I know it's something else. You need a cold glass of water there as well. So, well done, Farhana. Very, very good. So that's really, really good. Okay, fantastic. You've got it on hand. Very, very good. Okay, we're now going to the wonderful Tamsin Mori. Okay, Tamsin. I know. Okay, are we ready, Tamsin? Are we ready? No pressure.
Yes.
Obviously, no pressure. Okay, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Off you go.
Hello, I'm Tamsin, and I'll be telling you about Gargoyles and the latest one, Gargoyles the Watcher, which is just about to come out. They are creepy gothic stories. The story starts when Callum, the main character, and his family move into a crumbling old mansion. His parents have got grand ideas about doing the place up, and it's all going to be lovely. But Callum is not quite so sure. He finds it all pretty spooky, pretty creepy. There's strange noises in the night. There's gargoyles perched all along the top of the house. What he doesn't realise at this point is that gargoyles are in fact alive. Gargoyles only wake up when they're really needed, when there's big danger around. So when Callum first notices a gargoyle waking up, he doesn't really know what that means. He's just terrified of it. Reasonable. But what he doesn't realise is it actually signifies there's something much worse around. Magic isn't good or bad. It just amplifies the dreams that you feed it. So Callum might be having lovely dreams, but somebody else around is dreaming up terrible things.
Well done. That was very, very nicely done. Nicely paced. Beautiful. Okay, you feel good. It's very, very lovely. Okay. So Tamsin, we'll be learning more about Tamsin's wonderful book later on. Okay. It's the biggie because now we've got to wrap it all off in style, of course. We have Sangu coming up now. Okay, Sangu. Here we go. So, ready? 3.
Okay,
you ready? Are you ready? Okay, ready? Yeah. 3, 2, 1, off you.
Hi, I'm Sangu, and I'm the author of Vanya and the Wild Hunt. It is a fantasy adventure about Vanya, who is she's not having the easiest time of it at the moment. She is just been diagnosed with ADHD. She's never felt like she fits in, and she's fairly certain her parents are keeping some pretty big secrets from her. And oh yes, and books talk to her, and she talks to them, and that can't quite be that's not normal, is it? I mean, she's fairly certain that's not normal. And then a monster comes to the door, and she discovers that all of the fairy tales and fables and myths of her childhood that she's grown up with are real. And she's whisked off to a magical library where she needs to learn how to fight these monsters, how to survive in this world with a lot more magic than she ever expected it to have, and how to...
Look at that, and you've got a very creative gazoo bit of a flow there. Yeah. Very, very, very good. So Sangu, that's very, very good. So we'll be learning a little bit more about Vanya a bit later on. So for now, thank you very much to Sangu as well. Thank you very much, Sangu. Thank you. Okay, right. So there you go. Just a minute there, just for you. Hope you all enjoyed that. Brilliant fun. Right, we're now going to jump a little bit more into the wonderful book of one of our authors as we welcome back Zohra again. So here we go. So Zohra, welcome back.
Thank you. I just
Okay,
about got
so
breath back.
I know, it's quite full on. Now we've got a school question. We've also got a couple of others, and Zohra's going to be giving us a little read later on. I have a copy of your wonderful book here as well. So there we go.
Amazing! Thank you.
Yeah, lovely, but beautiful cover as well.
I know,
So
it's so
Zohra, here we
beautiful.
go. Let's get this question up and let's jump into this a little bit more. It's quite a long question, but here we go. So Cassia Thorne leads a double life, selling ballads by day and navigating Fleet Prison by night, as you'd mentioned. What drew you to create a protagonist with such a complex existence in 19th century London? So I'll hand over to you to see what you thought of that.
That's such an intellectual question. I'm so impressed. I think what I wanted to capture is at this moment in 19th century London, being a person was a really complex thing because the world was changing all around you. You know, all this technology was developing and all these kind of new ways of being were coming into place, and all of the sort of old ways in the old London culture was sort of slowly but surely dying off in some ways. And I wanted to write about a person who's having to live between the old London and the new. So Cassia's trying to make her way by the old rules, but also having to sort of suddenly discover new rules as well.
That must be really, really interesting to do that, because it's a sort of bridging two eras at once, aren't you? Sort of one to another, sort of. Like
I think that is the 1830s. It's this time when you've still got these very old things like Bartholomew Fair, which has been around since the Middle Ages, and this old economy of people, you know, yelling out stories and selling you song sheets. But at the same time, the new world order is coming, and you've got to. What do you do? How do you be a person when the world's never standing still?
Yeah, fascinating. Okay, so this kind of carries on from about Cassia, actually. So how does Cassia's role as a ballad seller influence her perspective and actions throughout the story? So giving a sense of the character and what she does and stuff.
So I think Cassia is first and foremost a storyteller. I think she loves creating narratives, and she very much narrativizes her own life in terms of she wants this kind of rags to riches story. And I think she's also very conscious of how stories can be used. So she's very aware of the power of telling a good story and making people listen as a means of making people listen to you. So Cassia's, I think, frustration throughout Deep Dark is that no one is listening to her and people are ignoring her or dismissing her because of how the position she was born in, because of the work she does, because of the questions she's asking, because no one cares about these children. So her being a ballad seller is a reinforcing of her ways of getting people to listen.
Yeah, that leads us into actually the next question. Actually, you possibly answered some of it here, but this just sort of carries on what you were saying. So Cassia's love of stories. What advice would you give to young readers about the power of storytelling in understanding the world around them? Sort of, you know, so obviously it's a massive thing for her. What advice would you give, maybe through her or yourself?
I mean, it's interesting for me. I think stories are the only way I understand the world. Whenever I study something like history or politics or anything like that, the first thing you do is construct the story. You try and understand, you know, what the direction is and what the plot is. I think that the ability to tell a story, you're shaping what happens. You're shaping how people perceive things, and that's an incredible power to have. And if you use it for good, you can change people's minds. You might feel that the world is against you and there are always going to be people more powerful than you, and there's always going to be structures that you can't resist, but stories are a way of resisting.
Absolutely. Brilliant answer. You've got a little reading for us. Can you give us a little sort of taster of the book? I'll hand over to you, give us a bit of context of where it falls, and then we can have a little reading from the wonderful book. Here we go.
Brilliant. So this is sort of midway through Cassia in the midst of her investigations into the missing children. Cassia heard the sound of a door being opened, and then she was pushed. For a wild, frightening moment, Cassia felt only air in front of her, but just in time her fingers latched onto an iron banister, and she caught herself before she went tumbling down the stairs. The dark was pitch black. It seemed to swallow Cassia whole as she stood trembling in the room. Her head ached, she felt dizzy, and yet somehow her legs were steadier than they had been as she turned back to the door. "Let me out! Let me out!" No answer. Feeling as though she had no other option, Cassia began to descend the stairwell, groping carefully in the dark for each step. "Hello?" she called. "Hello? Is there anyone else down here?" She moved further down, leaving the stairwell behind and feeling her way in the dark. And as she walked, and her eyes adjusted to the gloom, her hackles rose. This was not an ordinary room. There were 3 ordinary walls, but where the 4th wall should have been, there was only a deep, endless darkness. Darkness and cold and water. Water coming in, soaking her feet. She had left the room behind now. She was somewhere else. She should turn back. Every fibre of her body was screaming at her to run back to the basement room. The children, she thought. Isaac down here alone, afraid. What if this was the way to find them? She walked on. The water was colder. The dark grew deeper. Hello, she called out again. Hello? The water seethed in reply. Then there was an altogether different sound. It was the wet, slow sound of something moving towards her, not a person. This sounded as though something was dragging itself along the floor. She could hear its weight being set down over and over. Something heavy. Cassia went very still, frozen with fright. And then she heard it. It was a low, wet rumbling that echoed through the basement room like the blaring of a trumpet. It was a roar, the sound of Cassia's dream, the sound of a beast.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's really amazing. Really
Thank
amazing.
you.
We got a school question for you here. This
Amazing.
is from Penkridge County Middle School in Stafford. This is not very
Ooh.
If you could be a character in another famous book, who would you be and why? That's a great question.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
thoughts?
you know what? Maybe I would be Morrigan Crow in Nevermore. I love the school in Nevermore.
Oh, yeah. Why that? Why that?
Well, like, I mean, it's not great that she's so ostracized by everyone, but having that incredible power and like getting to discover all these old secrets in Nevermore, and just like the world is so cool. I'd love to be on the train that they have in the common room and stuff. I think it's amazing.
That's a good answer. So there we go. Morrigan Crow from the Nevermore. Fantastic. Now, Deep Dark is out for your reading, immersive power of storytelling, jumping into the world of the 1830s, history, adventure, pleasure, out now. So thank you very much. Now, by the way, Zohra will be joining us later on for the Big Book Bonanza quiz. And she's very excited about that, aren't you, Zohra?
I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting.
Can't wait. So thank you very much, Zohra. We'll speak to you a bit later on. Thank you very much.
Thank
Zohra
you.
Nabi there with Deep Dark. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're jumping through this today. This is like the Mr. Dilly meets of old, and we used to jump off different guests and kind of immerse you in the world of wonderful books and stories and wonderful guests as well. So let's welcome my next guest, okay? Here to tell you all about, she's told you a little bit about it already, but tell you a little bit more about the second in her Gargoyles book. It is, welcome back to Mr. Dilly Meets, Tamsin Mori. Hello, Tamsin.
Hello.
Hello. So, lovely to have you back again. So, I had Tamsin on the show. We're trying to figure out what it was last year, but I think it was the year before, for the first in your Gargoyles books. I think it might have been the Weather Weaver books. We're not quite sure which one it was. But anyway, you are back now with the second in your Gargoyles book. So, we have a few questions for you here to sort of jump in a little bit more in it, and you can tell us a bit more about the story from that. So here he is. So Callan, your obviously main character in the book, faces the challenges of proving himself as a guardian while dealing with the mysterious Watcher. What inspired Callan's journey, and how does his character evolve in this sequel? So I guess you need to tell us where he was and how it's kind of moved forward a bit. I'll hand over to you. Give us a bit more about that.
So in the first story, Callan's main task was to try and befriend a gargoyle. By the very end of it, he's just about convinced a gargoyle to make him a guardian, which means that they will partner up and they will protect his family, his friends, his home. But at the very start of book 2, Oculus, who are the organisation who look after all of the magical places, decide that they'd better send someone to assess him, to find out actually whether that was a judgment made by the gargoyle under pressure or whether actually he's ready to be a guardian or not. So Callan has to try and balance both learning how to do it, impressing this person who's come to assess him, and also hanging on to the things that are important to him. So looking after his friends, looking after his family, and those two come into quite a lot of conflict. I think this is the first time that he actually starts to properly lean on his friends and realise that he doesn't have to do everything on his own, which is important first
It's
character.
important in life in general. Okay, so I kind of touched on this next question when you were last on about gargoyles, because they are fascinating things. So the concept of gargoyles as protectors is fascinating. How did you develop the lore, so the sort of all the ideas surrounding gargoyles in your series? So tell us a bit more about that.
So initially I became obsessed with gargoyles. I kept spotting them when I was doing Weatherweaver research and going and looking up the whole time. I kept spotting faces staring back at me. So I thought there must be a story there, and started doing quite a lot of research about gargoyles. That research was what taught me that gargoyles are protectors. They've been put on all sorts of massive buildings and castles and churches as a form of protection to ward off evil things for centuries. So I suppose that bit really wasn't invented. The bit that was to do with making up the lore for the series was what might make them wake up, and why do they gather in particular places? Why are there certain places which have many, many gargoyles? So I came to the conclusion that it was places where there's a real concentration of magic.
That's a good. That's true, actually, isn't it? There are some places where you just see them all the time.
Yeah.
No, they're nowhere at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, old buildings. That's brilliant. Okay, so talking about that and where you see them and stuff. There's one more question. We have a school question for you, and I know you're going to give us a little reading as well. So, the setting plays a crucial role in your story. Are there specific places or myths that influence the world building in your book? So you mentioned looking up and obviously seeing that, but are there sort of certain places you've been to and actually this would be a great place to sort of include in some way or another? Any thoughts on that?
Quite often when I'm going out and looking for story inspiration, then I'll go to all sorts of different places that are outside the norm. So I went to quite a lot of big old houses looking for a story. One of the places that inspired the story, and this will sound ridiculous, I don't live in a mansion, but was the house that we were living in, because we bought a very, very old, decrepit, broken down house. And there were a lot of creepy things that kept happening while we were doing the works. So things like we mended the roof, and when we took the roof off, we discovered there was a room that had been walled shut. Ooh, so there was all sorts of things.
Hang on a minute, you discovered. That's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it just an empty room, as far as you know?
There was a single chair, but there was nobody on it, obviously. But it was quite creepy.
Yeah, that would do it.
There were lots of things like that kept happening. We found stone creatures in the garden, and the longer we've been here, the more of them have turned up. I don't know where they're coming from. We've now got like 9 stone rabbits, a couple of lions. I swear they weren't here when we moved in.
You're still there. Well, congratulations on still being there. I think the room with the chair in it, boarded in the roof, might have done it for me. So listen, okay, give us a little taste, a little reading from the book. Is this from the new book or the last one?
I can do either. I'm tempted to read you a little bit from the first book for those people who haven't read the first book, because the second one's got spoilers in it.
Okay. Here we go. So let's hand over to you for that. Here we go.
So this is when Callum is spending his first night in his new bedroom in a new house, which is feeling pretty creepy. He's not very happy about being there. He's managed to go to sleep, but he's not sleeping well. Callum wasn't sure what had woken him, but now he was wide awake, his heart racing. An owl hooted outside, and he let out a shaky breath. The sound of claws skittered up the ceiling above his head, and now he was bolt upright, ears strained. Was the sound coming from the roof or inside the wall? He wasn't sure. Callum sat very still, staring at the spot where the noise had stopped. A rat? Rats could climb inside walls, especially in old buildings. Or maybe it was a squirrel outside on the roof. That'd be better. At least then it would be outside. He glanced at his radio alarm clock, glowing red beside the bed. 12. Midnight. It's just a squirrel, he said out loud. The sound of his own voice gave him courage. It sounded believable. He swung his legs out of bed and headed over to the window, opening the curtains. If he leant out, he'd probably be able to see it, and then he could go back to sleep. Callum unlatched the window and leant over the sill, craning around to look at the slopes of the roof on either side. No squirrels, not that he could see. His heart froze. No gargoyle either. It should be there, right there, on the ledge in front of his window. Callum turned back slowly, his gaze settling on the empty pedestal. He could see the cleaner patch of stone where the gargoyle should be sitting, pale in the moonlight. He looked along the parapet. All the other gargoyles were still there, staring stonily out into the night. So where was his gargoyle?
Oh, look at that. I think he was probably in that room in the top of your house. And I've got a question for you, and also a school question. You can answer these quite quickly if it's possible. Okay, so this is just sort of I'll give you the school question first of all. So St. Joseph the Worker School in Salford. Thank you for your question. If you had to live in one of your books, which book would you choose? Isn't that a great question? So
it is.
Yeah.
If I could choose, I would live in the Weather Weaver. I think that's because I love Shetland. That's one of my favourite places in the world to be. But currently, I'm living in this one.
I'm living in this one. That's good answer. Here we go. And last one for you. For young readers captivated by magical adventures, what tips would you offer them to start crafting their own fantasy worlds? Any thoughts?
I think number one is notice what makes you curious. Find the things that excite you. And ask always what if. Let your imagination make it even bigger. The last and most important thing is that it's got to make sense. There's got to be rules. Even if it's magical, there needs to be a logic to it. So yeah.
That's good advice. Yeah, because I think sometimes we've all read things or watched things whereby even though it's fantastical, it doesn't make sense within the world it's in. So you've got to kind of think about that a bit. And try and do that. Tamsin is also back with us, and she's very excited for our big Book Bonanza quiz later on. But the Gargoyles, The Watcher is obviously out now, yes? And is it out now? It is actually out now. Was it not coming out?
I think nearly like 3 days' time it comes out.
In 3 days' time. It's out in 3 days' time. You've got an exclusive. Okay, so thanks, Tamsin. We'll speak to you later on. So thank you very much. Lovely Tamsin Mori there. Okay, now we're going to jump into our next guest, and then we have that pre-record poetry picks from AF Harold as well. So let's welcome back, and didn't she do well in the just a minute and rounding that off? Sangu Mondana. Here we go, Sangu.
Hi.
Welcome back. Right, so Sangu, let's jump a little bit more into your book. We got a question for you here about. I got a copy here of this one, Vanguard in the Wild. It's beautiful cover.
It is gorgeous.
It's beautiful cover. So here we go. So in your book, Vanya discovers she can talk to books, as you mentioned, and they talk back. What inspired this unique ability, and how does it shape her journey at the Oromir? Yeah. Oromir. So I'll leave you to sort of explain to us a little bit more about that.
So Oromir is the magical library that Vanya is whisked off to after she has her first encounter with a monster. But yeah, the talking to books thing, that was... I have to admit that started out purely as self-indulgent wish fulfillment, because I think anyone who's a reader, anybody who has been a bookworm all of their lives has probably at some point dreamed of what it might be like if those books were your friends, if they literally talked to you and you could talk to them. And that is what these books are for Vanya. To start with, they are her friends, they are her companions. She doesn't understand why she has this ability to start with. She doesn't know why it's happening, but she's the sort of, one of the things I love about her is that she's the sort of girl who just kind of accepts things as they are and goes with it. And so although she has questions, she's happy to accept that these books are talking to her. And honestly, it was delightful. It was so much fun to do. It was very much all about, what sorts of books might talk and what might their personalities be, and, sort of matching personalities to the contents of the book. And it was a lot of fun. And it is a big part of her journey at Oromir, because it's her introduction to magic. And it's sort of how she navigates the world later on, as well as somebody who loves stories.
This is the thing, I think, with books, and some of the children watching may experience this as well, is that, once you love a book and know the characters, they do become a comfort because you know them. They feel like sort of friends, or they feel like yourself, or they're echoes of who you are. So all those things make sense. Okay, let's you've mentioned a bit about this, so here we go. So Vanya's neurodivergence adds depth to her character. How did you approach representing her experiences authentically? It's quite a big question, that. So explain a bit more about what that is with her character.
Yes.
How you did that.
So I mean, I won't go into sort of medicine and science here, but in short, neurodivergence is essentially your brain works differently from the sort of the norm. And I'm air quoting norm because, what is normal? Nobody's normal. But yeah, so Vanya has ADHD, and it was a challenge to represent that authentically because I have ADHD, but I think I was diagnosed quite late, only a few years ago. I'm still learning about what that means for me. And I wanted to mirror that journey for Vanya. And she's a lot younger than I was, but I mean, I think for her, she's going through a lot of the things I was going through when I was first diagnosed, which is relief because you have a name and an understanding for what is going on inside your brain, but also confusion, also trying to come to terms with how much of it is ADHD, how much of it is just who I am, and how much of it is just magic. I mean, that wasn't me, but we can hope.
I think it is.
But
magic.
I think she does. Yeah. But I think she is very much. She's. I would say I feel like I need to add here is that I don't think that one representation of ADHD or autism or dyslexia or any of it can represent everybody. People will see themselves differently. ADHD presents differently in different people. So the best I felt I could do was represent Vanya's ADHD as authentically as I could and make it as true to my experience as possible. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Speaking of which, can you give us a little reading from that?
Yes, I can.
We have a school question for you afterwards, and another very quick question from myself as well. But
yeah, of course.
For the reading.
Okay, so I've picked a bit, sort of not quite halfway through the book, just kind of like a little bit through, and this is where Vanya first enters the world of Oromir, which is the magical library. One more enchanted doorway to walk through, one more magical threshold to cross. One more step, and I was in Oromir. I stood at the edge of a beautiful valley. There was so much to see that all I could make sense of at first were the big things, the huge swaths of color. Ahead, the deep greens and misty, flowery blues of the Nilgiris were a backdrop against the sky. The closest mountain, a green giant, stood to the right like a watchful guardian. Thick, wild forests climbed the mountains and spread out across the rolling edges of the valley, except for one edge on the far left, where there was just a strange white mist. There was a lot of water, too. A big rocky pool to the right, another smaller one to the left, little creeks and brooks. Two bright waterfalls burst out of the rocks and woods halfway up the big mountain and trickled lazily to the bottom. A slender river babbled across the entire length of the valley, ending abruptly at the white mist. My eyes gobbled it all up. I started to notice other things too, like the herd of deer and the handful of cute, chubby horses grazing on the open grassland this side of the river, or the town nestled on the other side of the river, with its thatched and tiled roofs, little turrets and smoking chimneys. I couldn't see much else because it was partly hidden by tall, knobbly trees with round heads of leaves, in the usual vivid greens, but also in jewel-bright purples and ochres and reds. And then there was the Arcane Archive, Jasper said, otherwise known as the actual library. It didn't look like any library I'd ever been to before. It was a tall castle built up the side of the mountain. The waterfalls tumbled down on either side of the castle, framing it, and made a wide, twisty moat around the bottom before finally meeting in one place to become the river. That said, castle probably wasn't the right word to describe the archive. It was more like a collection of towers, like a whimsical wizard came along one day and went, abracadabra, now you're stuck with each other. There were 9 towers in all. 8 of them were slender and of different staggered heights. The 9th in the front and the middle was the tallest and stoutest. Each tower's roof was tiled with a different color, from a vivid azure to a deep earthy brown, and all the roofs narrowed to a spiky point. As for the towers themselves, they were all roughly the same honey color, with tons of gabled windows and balconies, but they didn't look like they were made out of stone. I was too far away to be completely sure, but the exterior walls of the towers seemed to have a grain like wood did, like maybe they'd grown right out of the forest. It was perfect.
Oh, I love that. That's really beautiful. That's a nice
Thank
library
you.
as well. That's a nice library to visit as well.
I know.
Let's face it. I used to go to a library when I was a kid. It was an amazing library inside, but it certainly didn't look like that on the outside.
No, they don't do that.
So let me have a quick question for you here, Sangu. Here we go. So, excuse me, St. Athan Primary School, Vale of Glamorgan. Thank you for your question. How do you keep the excitement of the story running through to the end of the story? I guess this is kind of like trying to inspire some of the children's own writing. So what do you got to say about that?
I mean, that is a great question. It's also a hard question because I think that is a tricky thing to do. It is an extremely difficult thing to do, to sort of, especially if you're like me, where I find that I'm very excited about a story, and that excitement translates itself easily to the story at the beginning. And then as I get further and further in, I start to think, oh, why am I doing this? I'm terrible at this. And, you know, every crisis of confidence happens all at once. But I think the thing that I have found that helps the most is to sort of stop, take a break, step back, and remember why I loved that story to start with. And then that way, I feel excited about it again, which then means I can come back to the story and I can think, you know what, this set of scenes isn't as exciting as they could be. I'm not excited about them. And if I'm not excited, readers aren't going to be excited. And so I think, although it sounds like it's more about you than about the book, I think they're so linked when you're writing a story.
Sure.
That for me, keeping the excitement in the story comes from keeping myself excited, which I can really only do by stepping back and remembering why I love it.
Brilliant. And we've got another question for you. This is from me, but a very quick answer, if possible, for this one. So for young readers who might feel different or out of place like Vanya, what message do you hope they would take away from her adventures about embracing their uniqueness? And as you said, what's normal, and we're all unique.
Well,
so
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if nothing else, what I would love readers to take away is just the idea that everybody has something that they're uncertain of, and everybody is different in some way. And those differences actually give us so much that we also have in common. And so I think, yes, embrace your uniqueness, because that's the best way to find your people, the people who will really get you.
Fantastic. So Sangu is also back for the big Book Bonanza quiz later on. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Sangu, so Vanya and the Wild Hunt is out now.
Yes, it is out now.
With a sparkly, beautiful, purpley, bluish cover, which I very much love. Thank you very much, Sangu. I'll speak to you later on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, a couple of things. We're going to jump into a little pre-record for Mr. Dilly's Poetry Picks with A.F. Harold in just a moment. A couple of quick things. Philip Cavadias is not joining us live today. He is on the show, but at the end of the show on a pre-recorded interview. And I've just had news from our publisher, and with great regret, Jennifer Killick, unfortunately, is very unwell today. And so thoughts with you, Jennifer. I'm really sorry you couldn't be with us. And I'm sorry for you watching, very disappointing. But the good news is I have good authority. She will be on a future show. So keep posted about that. And sorry, Jennifer, I hope you feel better soon. But now let's jump in to a little pre-record and the return of Mr. Dilly's Poetry Picks. A little short thing and a few poems from the wonderful A.F. Harold. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Dilly. Hello, it's me, A.F. Harold, author, beard, man, poet, all those things. I'm here to tell you about a brand new book by me, which is called A.F. Harold's Pocket Book of Pocket Poems. What is a pocket book of pocket poems? A pocket book of pocket poems is a pocket book, a little book you can fit in a pocket. Look, it fits in a pocket. fits in a pocket. And it is filled with pocket poems. What are pocket poems? Short poems or very short poems. There are, in this book, over 200 poems. They're all quite short. Why have I got so many short poems? I'll tell you, it's because I enjoy writing poems on the back of these things. These are postcards. You've seen postcards before, all sorts there. I enjoy writing poems on the back here, sending them to people through the post, so that people get a funny little poem in the post in the morning, or waiting for them when they get home from work or school. I think it might just brighten their day up a little bit. And so, because there's only a little bit of space there, I've got loads of really small poems. And I thought I'd read you a couple of poems from A.F. Harrow's Pocket Book of Pocket Poems to give you an idea of the sort of things that are in this book. The poems in the book are organised by the number of words in them. So they begin with the longest poems, which have 60 words. Those are the longest poems. You have to write those quite small to fit them on a postcard. And the poems get smaller as the book goes on. Look, 33, 23, until you get right down to the end. You get a 0-word poem at the end. So here is a poem with 41 words in. And then I'll read you a shorter one, and then I'll say, thank you very much for listening. This poem is called Pet Picking Basics, and it's to help you pick a pet. Swimming lengths at the pool with your cat is rather cruel. Also cruel is going golfing with your dolphin. When buying a pet, I suggest they should employ a simple test. The basic requirement: do you understand this animal's preferred environment? There we go, and that should stop people from buying dolphins when they live on golf courses. Not a good place for a dolphin. Here is a 26-word poem called See What Morning Brings. I left an armadillo under my pillow. In the night, to my delight, the armadillo fairy popped round, liked what it found, and left me 50p. There, so maybe you should experiment with leaving different things under your pillow to see which ones earn you the most money, because it might not just be a tooth fairy out there. It might also be all sorts of other fairies checking under pillows for things. So stick random things under your pillow just in case it makes you cash. Okay, one last poem. This poem is a one-word poem. One-word poem. This poem is called Full Moon Warning. And the poem goes like this. Beware, wolf. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been A.F. Harold, talking to you about A.F. Harold's Pocket Book of Pocket Poems. If you want some lovely short poems, this is the book for you. So, thank you, Mr. Dilly, for letting me tell them about that. And now, back to you.
You're always brilliant, A.F. Harold there. Thank you very much, A.F. Harold, for those wonderful poems. Really, really good. Okay, now we're going to jump into part 2, and then we have my next live guest, Farhana Islam, to tell us a bit more about the misadventures of Mina Mahmood coming up. Okay, part 2, here we go. Okay, so let's welcome back to tell us a bit more about the wonderful adventures, or misadventures, as I call Farhana Islam. Hello, Farhana. Welcome back again.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So we've got a few questions for you. You gave us a sort of a fantastic just a minute there, but we've got a few questions. This is quite a long one, but hopefully it kind of jumps into your story a bit more. Here we go. So Mina and Friends' school trip takes unexpected turns, especially with the legend of Bertie Blackteeth looming, who you mentioned. What inspired you to mix humour with elements of spooky folklore in a school setting? So there's sort of 3 things together there. Any thoughts on that?
Well, so before I started writing, I was actually a teacher for about 10 years, and I worked in a primary school, and I loved it. It was the most favorite thing in the world. And I actually went on a school trip with the kids, and it was really interesting to see. It was their first trip away from home as well. It was really interesting to see how they responded, what they thought would happen, and they actually really inspired the Misadventures of Mina Mahmood. And a lot of the kids that I've taught can find themselves in the book, which is lovely. So I know a lot of them are in high school now, but they'll be able to look back in the book and find things that they've said to me and how they've inspired me, and find even their own names in there. So that's really what inspired kind of the spooky setting based on the kids that I've actually taught, which is quite lovely for
I
them.
love that. It's really nice. Isn't that nice?
It's ode
So
to them, definitely.
Are you still in touch with any of them? Would they know? They're
I'm
in
not.
there?
They know it's coming out though. I know because
Yeah.
my school that I used to work in, I know they've
Yeah.
kept on top of it. But I know they know it's coming out, and I know I've had a few children's parents message me on social media saying, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited!" Because it's
that's
nice
brilliant.
for a child to kind of see themselves in a book, isn't it? So
Of course.
important.
It's magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's brilliant. Okay, so here we go. So this is obviously a bit more about the friends. The dynamics between the three friends are central to the story. You can tell us a bit more about who they are if you like, but how did you approach creating their distinct personalities and their sort of interactions? You might have just touched on it with talking about some of the children you knew, but to tell us a bit more about those three characters and how they all work together, kind of.
So we've got Mina, who is the main character, but we've also got her best friends, Mobeen and Rima. And these aren't actually kids that I've taught, but they're inspired by kids that I've taught. But for me, it was really important to have a diverse bunch of characters. I know growing up, I didn't really see myself in a story. And I really thought it was important. I wanted to see myself in a story that I wanted to read as a child. And it's about having characters with a cultural background. I've always been a kind of advocate for books being windows and mirrors, so you can see yourself in a story, but also see a life that is maybe a little bit dissimilar to yours. And Mina, Mobeen, and Rima are exactly that. For me, it's my childhood, it's my cultural references, and a lot of people will be able to relate to that. But for others, it's kind of a world that is not as similar to theirs as they think it is, but they'll be able to see parts of themselves in it as well. And for me, that was really important. So Mina, Mobeen, and Rima are actually, they're images of the children that I've taught, but they're also my own past, my own family members who never actually saw themselves in a storybook.
Actually, that actually leads into this question, actually. So I was going to ask you this a bit later on, but as you sort of mentioned it there. So for readers who might see themselves in Mina's misadventures, well, what message do you hope they take away about embracing their own stories? Quite a nice question.
It is. That's a lovely question. And do you know what? It's so important there is a space for us out there, and it's about creating our own spaces, whether we do that ourselves or whether it's advocating for other people who are doing that for us. But you will find yourself in a story. You will always find yourself in a story, and there are books out there for you, and embrace it. I know sometimes it looks like, because there aren't, well, I know back when I was little, there weren't stories out there, and it was quite embarrassing at school to talk about your own culture and talk about your own history, just because it was not the norm. Whereas now there is so much out there, and we have a story to tell, and there are people out there that are going to listen to it.
Fantastic. Let's have a quick question. This is about the book. I don't know if you can see any there. Is very highly illustrated book. So that's just a quick question, just a nod to the illustrator here. Highly illustrated, another layer to the narrative. How did you collaborate with the illustrator Simran Diamond Singh, is that pronounced right, to bring Mina's adventures to life, or do you just basically you don't, it just gets given to you? How does that kind of work?
Yeah, so Simran is, I think a lot of people assume that the illustrators don't have a really big job, but the illustrators have done a fantastic job. Simran has done an amazing job, and it's quite interesting because Simran was able to pick up on a lot of cultural references, even though we don't have a lot of the similar cultures. Our publishers actually chosen Simran. We went through quite a few, and Simran was the one that kind of was able to illustrate what Mina was like in my head and all of her family members. And just that collaboration, although we didn't actually talk to each other a lot, she was actually able to show a lot with her illustrations, and she was so good with making small tweaks that from a naked eye you wouldn't even see it, but for someone who's a diverse person would be able to recognize certain tweaks to say, oh, that's my home life, that's my home, I recognize that. And it's such a small detail, but Simran was able to pick up on those little tiny things that'll make children see themselves in the story.
It must be the case with all authors, lest you're an author illustrator, of course, and even the other guests on the show today, that, you know, seeing someone then take your what you've written to life. It must be the same in a film. You write a story and it gets made into a film, and seeing that, but it's done the way you wish, it must be magical as well. Okay, you're going to give us a little reading from the book. So let me hand over to Farhana for a little reading.
So I'm going to read a chapter, and it's the children have arrived at Shymore Oaks, which is the camping trip, and it's now night time, and things are starting to get a little bit spooky. So, chapter 11. And then Bilal the bully hissed, checking that all the grown-ups are far enough away. When it's a full moon, she rises from the earth. I looked up and regretted it instantly. A full moon. Maybe the fullest moon I had ever seen. Bilal the bully smirked. He had been insufferable since his laser tag win, so there was absolutely, categorically no way I was going to show any signs of being spooked, even though I was absolutely, categorically, in every way spooked. First, you'll hear her footsteps, he continued, as the campfire lit up his face like it was a glowworm. But they'll be coming from every direction, so you won't know which way to look. Then, she whispers to the trees to find out exactly where you are. The fuzzy hair on the back of my neck stood up. Rima, Mobeen and I huddled closer together on our wooden log, clutching tightly to our sticks of halal marshmallows. Before you know it, you'll smell her. Bilal the bully took a deep breath, like stale cheese and onion crisps, her favourite. That's when you can be sure she's close by. Our eyes flashed to the small blue mountain of crisp packets that remained untouched despite Miss Bramley's efforts. Nobody wanted to send out cheesy signals, especially in Bertie Blacktooth territory. When she's chosen her first victim, her howl will echo through the trees. Bilal tilted his head up as if listening. And if you hear it, your time is up. It's already too late. My eyes lingered on the blazing campfire while I took in everything Bilal the bully had said. Were we giving away our location to Bertie Blacktooth, I wondered? Was the campfire some kind of smoke signal? For all we knew, she could already be on her way. I shuddered. Mobeen's teeth began to chatter, and Rima started to nibble on her fingernails, almost as if we had telepathically connected with this one thought. Bilal the bully looked smugly at Owen and Brody before biting down on his toasted marshmallow. So, who wants to start us off with a good campfire story? Miss Bramley's sudden appearance made us all jump. She waddled towards us and sat down next to Barney. No! We all yelled at one. Miss Bramley looked at us strangely, but before she could probe us any further, a high-pitched scream echoed through the trees. I gasped so hard that my lungs almost exploded. Even Bilal the bully choked on his marshmallow. Miss Bramley jumped up and hurried towards the scream, and just like that, we were alone. Nobody spoke. But then we heard a twig snap, somewhere close by. Footsteps too, but nobody had moved. It's coming from over here, shouted Nancy. No, over here, corrected Thomas. A bead of sweat trickled down my face. The woods came alive as the leaves rustled in the wind, almost like they were warning us. It felt like an eternity of silence before a voice boomed from the trees. For goodness sake, Poppy, you had every chance to go earlier, shouted Miss Khan, who was stomping back towards us. I had forgotten she had taken Poppy to the toilet because she had refused to go all day. Owen told her that flushing the toilets in the girls' bathroom would summon Bertie Blacktooth, and ever since Poppy had been 10% Poppy and 90% Pea. She had no choice but to use the old dark tin shack by the woods. I can't help it if the torch battery died. There's certainly no reason to scream like that. Phew! My shoulders relaxed as Poppy sat down beside us, until a cheesy smell wafted in the air. Could it be? Was she here? Oh, sorry, Barney mumbled, clutching at his bottom. I couldn't hold it in.
Brilliant, I like that. Was it 90%? Was it 10%? I can't remember what you said now.
10% Poppy, 90% Pea.
That's it. That's good. We've all been there. Let's face it.
We've
got a quick question. It's a school question. You kind of answered this, but if you've got something very quickly to add, that would be great. So this is from, I think it's Litchi, isn't it? But Litchi End First School in Bromsgrove. Where does your inspiration come from to develop your characters and plot lines? You've sort of answered it, but anything else you want to add to that? Thank you for your question, by the way.
It's okay. So where does your inspiration come from to develop your characters and plot lines? So they come from stories that I've read. I think it's really important to read, and you might be inspired by a story. And it's obviously come from a lot of the children that I've taught and experiences as a teacher. They come from things that I wanted to read as a child and I didn't have access to. So it comes a lot from the children, the stories that I've read, and they are the inspirations, essentially.
That's brilliant. Okay, so Farhana's back in just a moment with our big book quiz, but the Misadventures of Mina Mahmood is out now for your reading pleasure. So thank you very much, Farhana. We'll speak to you in just a minute. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Okay, now we're really nearly ready. Now we're going to go into our quiz in a minute. Now in your classes, if you so wish, you can join in, or you can just enjoy watching our authors join in. It's a lot of fun. A lot of them are fairly simple, so that'd be great. After the big book quiz, we have the pre-recorded interview with Philip Cavadias before we end the show today. A little bit shorter than I originally thought, because obviously Jennifer, unfortunately, as I said, is not being able to be with us today due to illness. But let's, I'm going to put the titles up, and then I'm going to bring all the guests in. They'll be magically there as we get into our big book quiz. Here we go. Okay, here we all are. All the gang are here. Right. Okay, you're very, very excited. Now, you may remember, anybody who's watched Mr. Dilly Meets before, when I've done quizzes, which I haven't done for a long time, all the authors are bringing their own special buzzer sound. And I don't know what they are today. So we're going to go through and just hear the buzzer sound. So we're going to start with Tamsin. What's your buzzer sound, please? Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay, Sangu. That's going to be controversial. Oh dear. Please don't tell me, Zohra, if it's a bell. What have you got there? What have you got?
No. Can you hear that?
I can hear that. What is that?
It's a roar. I thought, in keeping with Cassia.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Farhana, what's yours?
So I couldn't leave the room because my son's downstairs, and if he sees me, it's going to be a nightmare. So I picked up one of his toys in the room.
I do. I thought you should have brought in your son and just got him to randomly scream at the screen. And then okay, now this is working. Now, what will happen with this? We're seeing how many we can get through. We've got 10 questions, but we might do 8, which depends how we do for time. We are playing for points. Oh yeah, I'm not very good at keeping score, just so you know. So don't worry too much about that. The question will come on the screen, and I have to finish reading the question. And once I finish reading the question, the first in with their buzzer sound, and I'll do my best to differentiate between you, Sangu and Tamsin, with the correct answer, obviously gets the point. Now, if that person with the buzzer sound doesn't have the correct answer, it immediately goes straight to the rest of the group, and they can have another guess. Is that good? Does that sound good for rules of a quiz? Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? Okay, so good luck, everybody. Let's give each other a nice round of applause. Just in the spirit of it. Okay, very, very good. Okay, here we go. So this is the Big Book Bonanza quiz coming up. Question 1 coming up. Remember, I've got to read it before we get to the end. Children playing in your classrooms, okay? You can do the same thing. Here we go. So, question 1. In Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl, what is the name of the first child to find a golden ticket? Is it A, Augustus Gloop, B, Veruca Salt, C, Charlie Bucket, or D, Mike TV? Oh, I think that was possibly Farhana. Was it you? Yes?
Is it Augustus Gloop?
It is Augustus Gloop. Congratulations. They're just in there. So here we go. So 1 point down to you. Okay, I hope you got that in your classrooms. Okay, I'll be ready for question number 2 of the Big Book Bonanza quiz. Okay, here we go. This is an easy one. So be ready with the buzzers, okay? Be ready. Okay, here we go. What kind of animal is Wilbur in Charlotte's Web by E.B. White? A horse, a pig, a sheep, a rabbit. Tamsin, bit eager there, Tamsin.
Sorry.
I just won. I want a point. I want a point. Okay. What kind of animal is Wilbur, Tamsin?
A pig.
It is indeed a pig. Well done. Well done. A pig there for Tamsin. Okay, so Tamsin's on the scoreboard. Okay. Oh, the pressure. You can feel your heart going fast, can't you? It's kind of odd. And I know the answers. That's weird. What's going on? Okay, here we go. So, children watching, get ready for question 3. Remember, Tamsin, I have to finish the question.
I'm sorry.
No, you were just eager. So I love pigs. Here we go. Question 3 coming up. Here we go. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, what is the name of the 3-headed dog that guards the trapdoor? Oh, yes, Sangu.
Fluffy.
It is Fluffy. Congratulations. There we go. Fluffy's on it. Okay, here we go. Fluffy's on it. I've never said that in my life. Okay, here we go. So, question 4. Okay, here we go. So, who have we got? So, Zohra, come on.
Yeah.
I believe in you. Okay, here we go. This is question 4. Okay, ready? In your classrooms, here we go. In the Gruffalo, what is the Gruffalo's favorite food? Is it A, owl ice cream, B, scrambled snake, C, roasted fox, or D, mouse on toast? Oh, I think it might. Oh, yes. Farhana, yes. Farhana, is that you? What is it?
Roasted fox? It's not, is it? It's not roasted fox.
It's the wrong answer. Let's go to you. So, Zohra.
Mouse on toast.
It is indeed Mouse on Toast. Look at that. All on the scoreboard here. Fantastic stuff. Very exciting stuff here. You're all doing very, very well. Very proud of you all. Well done. Okay, so question 5. I think we go to 10 questions just because it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Question 5. Okay. This is also testing your book knowledge, of course, authors, but also for the children as well. Here we go. So this is an old classic as well. Question 5. In The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, what sweet treat does the White Witch give to Edmund to tempt him? Oh, yes, Sangu.
Turkish delight.
It is indeed Turkish delight. Fantastic. So Sangu just peeking ahead here by 1 point here. Okay, fantastic stuff. Okay, here we go. Question number 6. Here we go. This is quite an easy one, hopefully. Here we go. Which book series by Jeff Kinney follows the life of Greg Heffley as he navigates school and family life? Well, I think that's you, Farhana.
Is it Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
It is indeed Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Well done, well done, well done. Okay, here we go. This one is another roll dial 1 for question 7. Roll dial 1 for question 7 coming up now. Here we go. Okay. In Matilda by Roald Dahl, what is the name of the terrifying headmistress of Cruncham Hall? Is it A, Miss Honey, B, Miss Trunchbull, C, Miss Arbram, D, Miss Agatha? Yes, Miss Agatha. I don't know if that was it you, Tamsin? I'm not sure. I was too busy laughing. Tamsin, yes?
Miss Trunchbull.
It is indeed Miss Trunchbull. Oh dear Lord. Okay. Right, question 8. Here we go. Question 8. Here we go. Are you ready for this? Come on, Zohra. And we can jump up. They're all on a level pegging. Okay, you're going to get this one. I've got a good feeling about this. Here we go. Question 8. In Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne, what kind of animal is Eeyore? Oh, I'm not sure. I think that could have been everybody at the same time. So here we go. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, and you've got to shout out what kind of animal this is all at the same time, okay? So here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Off you go.
Donkey.
Yeah, it's a donkey, so we all get another point for that. Well done. Excellent stuff. 2 more questions of this big book quiz coming up, okay? So here we go. In The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy, what is the name of the main character, the clumsy but well-meaning young witch? Oh, I think that was you, Zohra. Who? Yes?
That would be Mildred Hubble.
It is indeed Mildred Hubble. Oh, look at this, which means you're all on exactly the same score at the moment. How exciting. So the person who gets the next one wins. Oh, look at that. That's pretty tense, isn't it? Pretty tense. Okay, hope you're doing well in your classrooms here. So deep breaths, everybody. Calm the heart rate down as we go to the last question, which is quite an easy question. Here we go. Are we ready? Question 10. What is the name of the cat in Mog the Forgetful Cat by Judy Kerr? All together. Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. All together now. 1, 2, 3.
Mog.
It is Mog. And look, you're all winners today. Congratulations. Fantastic work there. Let's put an end to the big book quiz. Here we go. Very, very good. I hope you all feel pleased with yourself there. You all did very, very well. Very, very good. Great knowledge. I hope you all enjoyed that watching in your classroom as well. A lot of fun. Now, it leaves me to say goodbye to my live guest today, and we're going to have the pre-record Philip Kapadias to finish the show off in just a moment. But let's a big round of applause. Tamsin Mori, the second in the Gargoyles books. I haven't got a copy myself. The Watcher is coming out in about 3 days, we said. We have Zangu. Here we go. Let's get these books out. I've got the other ones. We have Zangu Mandanas. Here we go. Vanya and the Wild Hunt, okay, which is out now for your beautiful, splendid cover pleasure. We have Zohra's Deep Dark Cassia Thorne Mystery out now. And we also have Farhana's The Misadventures of Mina Mahmood, also the first one, I think, of many misadventures coming out now as well. So thank you very much so much for all being with us today. Any last words you'd like to say to the children watching? Tamsin, anything you'd like to say? Apart, you might just say goodbye, which is okay.
No, keep reading.
Keep reading. Sangu, any last words?
I mean, honestly, that was what I was going to say. Keep reading, yeah.
Keep reading. Zohra?
Beware the deep dark.
Beware the deep dark as you keep reading. And Farhana?
And thank you so much for listening. It's been so much fun.
Thank you so much. And Tamsin, I wish you well with your weird secret room with the chair in it locked up into your attic. Fantastic. Thank you very much, all. Lovely to be with you. Round of applause. Tamsin Mori, please. Sanga Mondana, thank you very much. Farhana Islam, thank you very much. And Zohra Nabi, thank you very much. Weren't they wonderful? Brilliant. Okay, now we're going to jump in. It's a reading and a pre-recorded chat with Philip Cavadias now. And then it's kind of the end of the show. So here we go. I'm going to be saying goodbye and hello to myself at the same time. It's a bit strange. Here we go. Now we have my final guest on this fantastic big book bonanza just before Easter. This man was on Mr. Dilly Meets last year. You might have caught him. He was there with his, at that show, with his first in the series. It was a Mission Micro Raptor over here. He's now back with the second Mission... Can I get it up here? Mission Manta Ray. It's a pleasure again to welcome to the show. Put your hands together. Big round of applause. And welcome back, Philip Cavadias. Here we go. Hello, Philip. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you again, Mr. Dilly.
Nice to be with you again.
Yeah.
So we've got some questions for you. So we're going to sort of jump into a little bit about talking about Mission Manta Ray. But for those who are not familiar, let's just pop this up on the screen. There's a little question. So book one, Finn and Milo, your main characters, you can tell us a bit more about them in a minute, ended up in the Alps with a dinosaur. Obviously, it was Mission Microraptor. Where do they find themselves in Mission Manta Ray, and what's different about this adventure? So give us a little fill-in about where they were in book one, and then tell us where they find themselves in this one.
Well, in book one, Finn and Milo went on a school trip to the Alps, where they accidentally discovered a Microraptor egg. They didn't know it was a Microraptor egg, but it hatched in the hotel room that night, and a Microraptor popped up. And that very night, someone tried to kidnap the Microraptor, whose name is Artemis, by the way. So someone tried to abduct Artemis, and this is where the adventure becomes. And the boys, throughout book one, had to protect Artemis and continue to run away from the bad guys, survive in the wild, and then also find the way back to London and the Natural History Museum. Now, in the second book, they have joined a secret agency called Raptor, a secret agency that helped them a bit in book one. So now they are junior agents, and they go to the Pacific Ocean for a little scientific mission. So it's a scientific mission and then they meet a junior agent from the Pacific Raptor called Cassie.
Oh, let's jump in there. We've got another question for that. Yeah, tell it, because this is a great character. This is sort of changes the whole sort of dynamic of the story. Yeah. So, new agent Tassie in this book. So tell us a bit about her and what she brings to the team and Finn and Milo. And does it change their, sort of relationship a bit?
It does. Well, Tassie is the boys. Let's start with the boys. The boys are not natural survivors in the wild. They have to learn how to do it in book one, and they do it well. But Tassie actually has done that many times. So she was, let's say, she was born in the tropical islands. She knows how to survive there, and she teaches them a lot of things. Like, for example, how to walk in a tropical jungle without making noise, without alerting others, without alerting snakes or wild animals. And she teaches Finn specifically how to breathe and control his movement and control his temper. So, and she herself is very good with her movement and her martial arts skills and her survival skills. So she teaches them a lot of things like that.
Okay, well, give us a little taste. You're going to give us a little reading from the beginning?
Yeah, I'll read the first chapter.
Brilliant.
So let's see how the book opens. 5 minutes. Oh, actually, it opens 10,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean. 5 minutes. The voice came from the cockpit through the magic of radio waves straight into our helmets. Milo, my good friend and fellow Raptor Junior agent, also known as the Prof, for his knowledge of things, had once explained how radio waves work. I had decided that it was basically magic. We stood up. In case you didn't know, and how could you, the book's only started. We were wearing skydiving jumpsuits, 2 parachutes, 1 main, 1 reserve, and helmets. We unclipped our operation rucksacks from under the bench and clipped them on our fronts, leaving them hanging from the harness. From side pockets, we fished out skydiving goggles and put them on. Kia! Artemis, the 65 million year old Microraptor we had saved from evil hands in our previous mission, laughed. Yeah, I said, you can fly, we look like dogs, blah, 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 blah. She must have thought that we looked ridiculous, needing 106 pieces of equipment just to drop in a straight line, whereas she could perform the most amazing air maneuvers with nothing. I still don't understand why we need to parachute to Nausicaa, I said. Milo explained. It's the quickest way to get there, and given that things are developing quite fast, it was a red oracle question. Rhetorical. 3 minutes, said Special Agent Edgar Young, codenamed Koala, our chaperone on this second mission. We had arrived at Seoul's International Airport 5 hours earlier, and courtesy of our Korean Raptor colleagues, got onto this military transport aeroplane, if you could call it that. A flying machine without comfy seats, without movies, without pretzels, and without food trolleys is not an aeroplane. It's a creation of Satan himself. Yellow lights flashed inside the fuselage. That's the main body of the plane, in case you're wondering. Milo said it earlier. Not a clue what a fuse has to do with it, unless it means that if you stay too long in here, you blow a fuse. That joke, forget about it. The hatch at the back opened and came down steadily. A wind of minus 7,000 degrees Celsius blew in. We saw the purple-orange horizon of the morning, and 10,000 feet below, the Pacific Ocean said hi. Where exactly are we? I asked. Milo swallowed hard. Are you all right, Prof? I asked, putting my arm around his shoulders, knowing that traces of his acrophobia were still around, although he had fought it in our previous mission. He took a few deep breaths and said in a slightly trembling voice, 11.37 degrees north and 142.59 degrees east, right where the Nausicaa is waiting for us. Confirmed, said Edgar, checking the tablet on his forearm. Everyone ready? I looked at Milo, taking one last deep breath. He nodded. I glanced at Artemis. She was perching at the end of the hatch door, enjoying the wind on her face and her feathers, her raptor senses in full mode. Ready, I told Edgar. Grey-faced buzzard and Himalayan ruby-throat, he said on his mic. Thanks for the ride. You're welcome, Koala, the pilots replied. Cool names. Everyone has cool names, whereas mine is Sparrow, go!
There we go. Fantastic. So this is Linfield Primary Academy in Sussex. Thank you for your question. What is, if you have one, what is your favourite drink or snack while you write? Do you have one?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. I do like coffee. I drink a lot of coffee, maybe more than I should. And I do have a sweet tooth. So biscuits, especially chocolate biscuits, are always there.
Any particular chocolate biscuit?
Any particular?
Yeah.
I can't think of a particular one because if something says on the packet double chocolate or triple chocolate, then that's a winner. I don't need to read anything more. Just take it to the till.
Read it. That's really good. Thanks for your question. A good question. What's your best tip for young writers who want to make their stories full of action and suspense? Maybe even kicking it off. How do they sort of, any ideas?
Yeah, I'd say first of all, keep writing, write a lot and edit a lot. So what you wrote, go through it again and edit it, and that's the best way to develop, to find your own voice. But during editing, just don't be afraid to cut down on things that are not really progressing the story and the action. So a lot of writers are a bit, they're not so keen to cut down things they wrote. But the best thing to have action and suspense is to really cut down on your writing.
Do you find that with yours? Just to finish off, did you find you wrote a lot more and then you just chopped it right down quite a lot?
Well, I used to, and now I think I more or less write the correct amount, let's say.
Yeah.
But still, I find myself, writing a couple of chapters at the beginning, and then my editor says, well, you actually did a big introduction. Why don't we go straight to chapter 3? I said, you know what, that's a good idea. And it's happened a couple of times.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, listen, Philip, all the best with a mission Manta Ray. Philip, keep up eating those biscuits. They're good for your soul. Okay, so a big round of applause and have a lovely Easter. Philip Cavadis, everyone. Thank you very much. Cheers, Philip. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Brilliant there, Frederick Cavadias on a pre-recorded interview there. It's been a joy to have you with us today. Give your prayers to Jennifer Kiddock, obviously feeling rough and rotten today, but she will be on a future show. Thank you to all my guests today. So obviously AF Hal for the Poetry Pits, Philip, as I just said. The wonderful Tamsin Mori, Farhana, of course, Sangu, Zohra, all being with us today. Which leads me to say, as usual, thank you very much for joining me today. Been a real big pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed yourself and enjoyed watching and learning about our wonderful books and wonderful world of stories. Give you a bit of inspiration as well. As usual, my name is Mr. Dilly, and it's goodbye from me, my friends, and it's with my weird see-through hand, and it's goodbye from me. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Bye-bye.